Maybe I should look into Sonic Colors Ultimate and see if it's worth a purchase. It may even change my opinion on the game. Could make an interesting video as well. What in the... Oh no.
What the hell is this?
As I'm sure you are all aware of, Sonic Colors Ultimate is now available for purchase. Now, I'll be honest in that I've never been a huge fan of Sonic Colors and what it represented, but that doesn't mean I wished its remaster an ill fate. If anything, I was intrigued with the prospect of the re-release in its editions, improving enough of the game for me to see it in a new light. The reality of the situation, however, is far from that idea. The state that Sonic Colors Ultimate is in right now is, quite frankly, dreadful. Inexcusably bad. But that is precisely what I wish to discuss today. Full disclosure, I did not end up picking up a copy of the game, but if you're aware of how it was released, I think it would be fair to say that I simply wish to spend my money wisely. Ever since the game's pre-release, there has been controversy over the enhanced visuals. On a technical level, the game's graphical engine has indeed been upgraded from the original, but many people objected to the liberties taken with the visual identity of the remaster. This went beyond emotional arguments about charm, pointing out things that objectively are worse than the original in spite of the superior technology. Lighting sources appear to be poorly tuned, sound mixing decided to follow after FC2's example, and even Sonic himself looks like he's been frosted and shined. These and more issues like them were voiced well before people got their hands on the game. Unfortunately, the final product has turned out to have far more objective issues alongside these. Bugs. Bugs everywhere. Bugs so severe that, if we're being fair, should be considered more negatively impactful than the bugs from Sonic 2006. The Nintendo Switch release has far more prominent bugs. Although I hear all versions can suffer the same issues, I cannot confirm that personally. Even if it was just a Switch version with these issues, it would still be a mockery. The original Colors was a Wii title. The Switch far outclasses the Nintendo Wii. There is no reason Colors Ultimate should run in such a suboptimal state. Some people will say that because code and engines needed to be overhauled, that explains why the Switch cannot run it. But that sounds like things people with no idea of how game production works would say. The real reason why these changes would contribute to a flawed product would be through their implementation into the game project. And based on what we have seen, I would say that they were implemented rather poorly. Now, the reason for this is unclear, as there are many possibilities. One likely cause was Sega not taking the necessary amount of time and resources for the project to be properly completed. The game as it is even after a day one patch is quite clearly unfinished and should not have been released. And it is the fact that it was released regardless that I feel the need to make this video calling it out. Long have I lamented the last decade of Sonic where we've had to watch this icon gradually subside into mediocrity. Colors and Beyond introduced the now norm tradition of Sonic games being low budget, short, simple in gameplay, and lacking in narrative. Generations having most of its hub world and cutscenes constructed out of untextured assets is one of the prime examples of how corners were cut. Even the menu of Sonic Forces uses this visual style, despite having less of a reason to include it, beyond once again cutting corners. Sonic Forces screams budget title. The more you look into that game, the more recycled assets you begin to notice. Hell, Sonic used to have new models every game or two, but since the Meta era, they've just made slight tweaks to the same model. Now, that is not necessarily a bad thing, but it again shows a decrease in effort. The point I'm trying to get at here is that if this is how Sega was okay with releasing Sonic Colors Ultimate, then what confidence does this inspire for the up-and-coming Sonic Rangers 2022? Sonic Colors is a game that the media and presumably Sega themselves hold in high regard. It was even stated that Sega believed Colors would serve as the best segue for new fans of the Sonic movies to be introduced into the video games. But they still released it as an unfinished, buggy mess despite the importance behind it. Does the upper management not care? Nintendo themselves have even began offering refunds. This is no small issue. Say what you will about Sonic 06, but at least it was a buggy mess that was aiming for the stars. Back then you could see the passion and intent behind every decision, the confidence in their direction despite how risky it may have been. Modern Sonic seems to just be thrown about to make some cash, and Sega doesn't care how bruised up he gets in the process. Some of the glitches in Ultimate originate at a fundamental level, with the screen becoming incomprehensible to the human mind at times. I have voiced some of my concerns with the direction of modern Sonic, and even with Sonic 2022 in the past, but now, with Sonic Colors Ultimate as a taste to what Sega deems as acceptable, I'm even more worried about the state of the next main game. Even if all of these problems of the remaster are fixed, the fact remains that the game was released in its current state. I don't know what is going on behind the scenes, but something has to change. If you included spin-offs, we got at least one game each year in the 2000s, and sometimes more than one. They tended towards being glitchy to varying degrees, but some were basically clean of any major bugs at all, and even when there was something terrible, we got plenty of other games anyway. Now we get one game every 4-ish years. It is short, it doesn't innovate, and it's a buggy mess. Personally, I feel like the commitment to things like boosts, wisps, and simple stories are a symptom of some underlying lack of ambition within upper management, where the standards to which Sonic is held to now are far below what they used to be. Anyway, that was all I had to say on the matter. What a mess. Considering how long it's been since Forces, the lack of any Sonic 22 gameplay is not looking any more promising after the release of Colors Ultimate. If the next game is bad, I hope there's a big shake-up. No more of that taking more time to ensure better quality nonsense. I want actual improvements, or at least an explanation as to why things are not improving. Anyway, thank you for watching all the way to the end. What are your thoughts on Colors Ultimate? Did you buy it? I hope you have a great day, and see you next time.